You're listening to the Reality of It All podcast, candid conversations about today's hot topics. And now here's your host, Tracy Osborne. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the show. All right, ladies. Today we are talking about sex and the big O. And, sometimes you get one, sometimes you don't. And, it's just kind of the way life is. But with me today is, with me today is Tiffany Yelverton. And she is going to help us learn about sex, female pleasure, and the orgasm gap. Tiffany, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Tracy. I appreciate you having me.
I am excited to have you. I don't get to talk about this topic very often since my other podcast is all about trauma. So I'm excited to, be able to talk about something fun. And it's not something that women like to talk about, in public or unless it's like with their really close friends. And even then, a lot of times women don't want to talk about it.
Right.
So being able to have a conversation with you and share with our audience that it's okay to talk about. It's not taboo. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. It's human nature. So now you are known as the sex toys scientist and orgasm guru.
Yes.
How did you come up with that?
Well, I train doctors' offices on safety of sexual wellness products and sex toys because a lot of them aren't aware that chemicals that are outlawed in children's toys haven't been outlawed in adult toys. And we're putting those in the most absorbent parts of our body. And same with many of the personal care products we use, personal lubricants, shaving creams, lotions, gels, things like that, all have, most commercially produced ones have chemicals in them that can disrupt your estrogen levels and your hormone levels. They can cause irritation. And doctors don't really learn about that kind of stuff. They actually even medical doctors, even OBGYNs, get about 6 hours of training in sex in all of their medical school.
Yeah, I think, most of their training probably comes from personal experience. I didn't know that about, number one, the sex toys having, chemicals that are banned for children's toys. What kind of chemicals are we talking about? Like lead and stuff like that?
Lead, phthalates, which are a chemical that make plastic pliable and take PVC and make it so that it's soft. They can contain heavy metals, cadmium, mercury, because there's no regulations on sex toys. There are some legislation actually going through right now, but up until this point, they've been labeled novelty products, and means that they do not have to have any truth in labeling. So the manufacturers can actually put that it's 100% silicone and it doesn't have to contain any silicone. And unfortunately, the industry has been like that. It's getting a lot better, getting a lot more female manufacturers and people who care about the products that go into our bodies. So it's been a big journey. I've been in the business for 11 years and it's been a whirlwind. This is just, I'm sitting here just kind of thinking about things and, how do we know? I mean, you go to an adult toy store or you order online, how do we know what we're getting? And how can we make sure you don't? The best way is to go to a retailer that you really trust, a retailer that vets their manufacturers, does their own testing, things like that. Because there is so much junk out there. and a lot of retailers that don't care, and they're just there to make money. So you can shop small and shop local. That's usually your best bet. Ask questions. Do you know what this is made of? Have you done a flame test on it? And buy there are manufacturers, Lalo, Jeju, Laura DiCarlo, Dame, the manufacturers that really do care about the products.
The quality.
Yes.
And you were also talking about like the lubes and stuff. And, I don't know. I've just always used good old fashioned baby oil. But, what other stuff, I know we've got the KY and that kind of thing, but, are those actually okay to use?
Actually, no. So baby oil is a petroleum product. We actually shouldn't even be using it on babies. I used to always use it all over my skin, laying out in the sun. And now using coconut oil would probably be a better option if you like that feel. Even olive oil, is very natural. KY, most doctors' offices don't even use it anymore because it's not up until 1980, it was a sterile medical grade product, but it's not any longer. And so in commercial, I always use like the Target brand lube. And when I found out this information, I was terrified because they contain propylene glycol, which is a derivative of alcohol, which actually dries your vaginal tissue out. That's what causes the heat in all of the warming products, is the high concentration of propylene glycol, that it's actually drying out so much that it's causing a heat sensation. Glycerin can cause yeast growth and UTIs. And then parabens are the chemical preservative in most commercial lubricants, and they're found in 99% of breast cancer tumors. And all the oncologists that I work with, all the cancer survivors are not allowed to use any products with parabens.
Right.
So we shouldn't be using them beforehand either. I highly suggest a lubricant brand called Sliquid. They're a US brand. They're chemical free, all vegan, gluten free, everything. They're amazing.
That's called Sliquid.
Sliquid. And they have a bunch of different viscosities and flavors that are all natural. And all the things that I talk about are on my website, enticeme.com. And I do a free product consultation with anyone who wants one too. So just jump on and we can talk about products and find the right one for each person.
Okay. And listeners, I'm going to have all that information down in the show notes. Just go to therealityofitall.com and pull up Tiffany's episode, and all her contact information. Everything will be there so that you can reach out and, get educated and find the right products. I know that there's, I know that there's like a latex allergy that's common. And one of the upcoming shows that I want to do is about sex allergies. And I think a lot of women don't realize this. And I didn't even realize this until I watched a documentary on it, that you can actually be allergic to semen.
Yes.
Or certain men. And I always wondered why, in my past, where, when I was with certain men, it would kind of burn afterwards. And then with others, it didn't. And I didn't realize that was most likely what the problem was.
Yes, semen allergies are real. You mentioned latex, which I always thought I was allergic to latex because I would have irritation and get a yeast infection or UTI after sex. And I'm actually allergic to the chemicals that are in commercial lubricants and what they cut the latex with it in most condoms. So most commercially brand condoms are not 100% natural latex. They're a latex with like a paint thinner to make them go farther, to use less actual natural latex. So when I switched to a condom that was 100% latex with a natural lubricant on it, I don't have any issues anymore.
Wow. Okay. That's good to know. I want to kind of switch now and go from, like the sexual aids to, excuse me, the actual, let's just talk about sex and female pleasure.
My favorite topic.
Now I know that there is a huge gap between how much men masturbate and how much women masturbate.
Yes.
Of course, that's case by case as well. But, I don't know. It almost seems like for women, it's more taboo. And for men, it's expected.
Absolutely. I did a presentation a couple of weeks ago in a business setting, and I talked about this because for young men, it's a rite of passage. But we never teach young women about their bodies and about pleasure. All the things that women get as we're growing up is that sex comes with consequences.
Right.
And good girls don't do that. And that you're going to get a bad reputation. And I think that comes along with self-pleasure too, that the gap is so big. And it really correlates to the gender wage gap as well. That men masturbate about 23% more than women on average. And, obviously those aren't necessarily the most accurate, probably surveys, but if you look at the 20-cent gap in wages for women and men, I think that when women masturbate more, you know your body, you ask for what you want, and you can communicate those needs to your partner, but it goes beyond that because of the confidence that it gives you and the love for yourself.
You bring up a very good a very good topic here, and that is being able to communicate to your partner. And that's hard. It really is. It's I mean, I still don't even like doing it really, but how do we get over that embarrassment of saying, go over here and do this, and can you do this, and how do you get over that?
Well, it's for everybody. It's each person that's a little different, but just realize that your partner wants to please you if they're a good person, and they want that. We don't come with an instruction manual, and they don't know what to do. I mean, where are they learning from porn? So if we don't tell them what to do or what we like, then they're never going to know unless they're really, really good about reading your cues. But it's, just think of it as being fun, and that if you were making dinner, you would want instructions on what to do. And why should sex be any different? We should be able to say, hey, can you do this? This does this for me. Right. And when we know our own bodies, we know what we like, and we know what gets us there.
Yeah.
That the pleasure gap between how much men orgasm during intercourse and women is huge as well. Mm-hmm. For example, on like first time in intercourse, it's like 4% of women will orgasm and 95% of men will orgasm. And I think that we're just as a society, so shy about talking about it that we don't know how. And so learning to, one of the best communication things that I do is to just say, imagine it as a fantasy, and we can text it now. So you don't even need to really, talk about it to begin with. A good intro way is to say, I think it would be so hot if we did this, or I had a dream or a fantasy. Can we try this? And, just think of role reversal. If your partner asks you to do something, would you be offended?
No. Yeah. So that makes sense. And And you're right with the texting. That actually kind of in a way makes it hotter, I think.
Yeah.
You have that dirty talk going on, and
it's like foreplay for, and
exactly.
And then you can hopefully then break into that and talk about it in person, face to face as well.
Yeah. Let's talk about the big O. And for a lot of women, it's really hard to achieve. I know women who they don't think they've ever had one, and then I know women who you blow on them and they pop. So why is it? I mean, why is it so such a vast range as far as being able to orgasm? And also I've heard that most women can't orgasm from penetration. It has to be from clitoral stimulation usually.
Mm-hmm. The vast difference is all of our bodies are different, but it's also that shame around pleasure and the power of sex. And when we don't talk about it, we never were taught, like that's not something that we are taught of how to orgasm, right, or how to self-pleasure or touch yourself. And so just getting comfortable with your body. A lot of women are so uncomfortable in their own skin that they can't let go to enjoy what's going on in the moment. And when you can't enjoy what the pleasure that's happening, it's really hard to then allow your body to really explore pleasure and to orgasm. And so, yes, most women need clitoral stimulation, but you can train your body to have orgasms internally. There are so many different types of orgasm, and that foreplay, the sexting and the ongoing foreplay heightens all of that, because for women, arousal starts in the brain. It's very different from men. Men's arousal starts with blood flow to the genitals, but women's actually starts with arousal in the brain. So being in that place of sexiness and sensuality and thinking about erotic thoughts and fantasies and whatever that takes for you, whether it's reading erotica or talking about it, watching soft porn or ethical porn. Well, if it gets you in the mood, then do that, because you do need that arousal. And a lot of times it's just that arousal is even your partner doing the things that you need them to do for you to feel loved. Yeah. So, if it's vacuuming the floor, everybody has a different love language, but some women get really turned on by that, like just their partner doing the things that make their life easier.
Right. Yeah. There's nothing sexier than a man that does housework. So, for these women who kind of have a difficult time, reaching orgasm, what are some tips that you have for them to be able to overcome that? I mean, is it mainly mental, or do they need to go talk to their doctors? Could it be physical?
It's usually, I call it the orgasm trifecta. It's usually a combination of physical, biological, and emotional. And so it can be you need some hormones. It can be that your body physically needs to be stimulated and, woken up, learning how to touch your body and learning how to feel into your skin and what's going on in the moment. And then that, getting out of your mind, so to speak. But it's not getting out of your mind. It's taking your mind and focusing on what's going on, what those touch points are. One of the best things that I start all my clients with is just a sensate touch activity where you just touch yourself and you just focus on those touch points. And when you stop feeling, you get lost, oh, I got to do that. You just go back to where your fingers are actually touching your skin. And it's totally non-sexual to begin with, and just start to learn to feel into your body. I do teach a 12-week course called the Pleasure Experience, how to really train your body to have those Hollywood sex moments of spontaneous orgasms and, and communication and learning what you like, because a lot of women haven't ever even taken a mirror and looked at their body. So
right.
It starts with that and knowing the anatomy of your body and loving yourself and appreciating it, and so that you can have sex with the lights on and be in the moment and love everything that's going on.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, sex with the lights off is great, but with the lights on, it's even more intense. At least I think so.
Very visual, so I love that.
What's that?
I'm very visual, so I love sex in the daytime or with the lights on.
Yeah, I want to be able to see what I'm doing.
Yeah, I want to see his reactions. I want to see his eyes.
Exactly. Now, you are a master sex coach, so tell us a little bit about what does that mean, and what does that look like as far as coming to you for assistance?
So I work with my clients on an ongoing basis. Being a coach is a lot different than a therapist. We think of therapy as like by the hour. Mm-hmm. I'm really teaching my clients to skills for the rest of their life and make transformation in their goals that they want in the next 3 to 6 months. And I use a lot of different modalities. It's a lot of talk. It's a lot of homework. But it's fun homework, it's sex homework. I do luxury retreats as well, where you can get away and work with me in Aruba. And so I have those coming up in March, a couples retreat and a women's retreat. Women's is really about who you are as a woman and getting into your feeling of your body and not, putting yourself first. It's the ultimate self-care of really learning to practice that you're worth it. And that when you put that oxygen mask on first, you're better for everything else that you do in your life. And as women, we have a hard time doing that.
That is so true. Yes, we do.
That we'll do everything else. We're so nurturing and caring, most of us, that we'll do everything for everyone else. And then our own self gets put on the back burner. And men are opposite of that. They will do whatever they want for themselves first. We saw that big time during, when we were all isolated in quarantine, is that women would be like hiding in their closet crying because they didn't have any space, and the guys would just go out for a run. It's like, I need to get out of the house, I'm going to leave. And women just hold everything kind of like, I can't do that.
Yeah,
I have to be here for everybody else.
Exactly. We're expected. That's a whole nother conversation.
Right.
In itself. Yeah. So, well, Tiffany, thank you so much for coming on. This has been absolutely fascinating. I think I have a little bit of homework I need to do on the sexual aids and stuff like that. Make sure that we're using the best things that we should be or that we could be. So, this has been absolutely amazing. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you. And I look at sex toys as something that really can help you learn to orgasm easier. Mm-hmm. And they're an accessory for your bedroom, just like earrings are accessory for your outfit.
Yep.
It just makes it better, changes it up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, and they're one of those things where they're fun by yourself, and they're even better with a partner. So, yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you. And listeners,
thank you.
Like I said before, I'll have all of Tiffany's contact information in the show notes. If you're listening from one of our partner stations, just go to therealityofitall.com and pull up Tiffany's episode, and all her information will be there for you. So, Tiffany, again, thank you. And listeners, thank you for tuning in. We'll talk to you in the next show. That's it for today's show. Thanks for listening. Be sure you subscribe to us on your favorite podcast platform. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, and TikTok.